Hi, can everybody hear me? I don't know who's all in here. You're gonna ask what I'm doing. So, thank you everyone who came to my last stream. Thank you everyone who donated. Donations are greatly appreciated because I work 2 jobs. I have kids. I'm trying to learn to be financially responsible, and my hobby costs money. I'm starting to paint. I'm drawing Pocahontas. I'm doing her hair right now. It doesn't look like anything yet, but it's going to in a minute. I'm drawing Pocahontas. That's what I'm painting now. Yesterday I did Mulan. Just kind of stuff to like make me occupied. How is everybody doing today? What did you guys all think of the stream? Was it disturbing enough for everyone? I hope it was disturbing. Maybe my chat's lagging? I don't know. Yeah, it's only 4 p.m. here. And then I'm not going to be online. I just want to talk to everybody casually because I like talking to everybody. And I like everybody that comes here. $8 in the street. Oh, thank you, Ray J. Look, I'm drawing Pocahontas while painting. Yeah, I really enjoyed that book. It's just such a hard topic to read that even like listening or talking about it for too long just like makes me feel gross. So that's why I didn't want to go anything over an hour. We were almost an hour. I felt like that was good enough, in my opinion. Thank you so much, Bilbo Evans. I will put down my painting for a minute. So yeah. There's a couple things I would say. I want to do a lot of different stuff with this channel. I'm not sure exactly what I want to do. One of the ideas I was throwing around with some people from Ron's channel is that we were thinking of doing like a virtual kind of like arts and crafts thing, or like where like you guys make things that you want to sell, or you are selling, or you do like services. I would like have a show, like a live stream where everyone can go on and advertise it and show it, whatever you guys are selling, because so many people make cool things. Like Alyssa, who's on Ron's channel, makes these paintings, these paint by numbers, and I bought one from her. It's very nice. And I thought it would be fun to have something nice between all of this harsh content. So it gets a little intense at times. Sometimes it's nice to relax. So I don't know what you guys think of that. Does anybody here do anything or sell anything or have any type of hobby that you'd like to sell? Or is it just I was thinking of selling these paintings, but I honestly don't know who would buy them. Because I mean, they're not that good. I'm so mad. The paint that I used was way too dark. Maybe it just looks dark. Yeah, the one with the wolf was a paint by number. The one that I did, I drew it myself. So I was just going off some picture references I had online. So I'm hoping it turns out okay. But this is only like the second picture that I painted. So I don't know how it's going to turn out really. It's hard to draw paint. Have you seen Philosophy? I've not seen that. What is it about? Oh no, I would have to look at that. Hey Google, take a note that says Philosophy of the Knife.
Saving note.
Saved. So I'll do that. I feel so cool with that. Hey Google, I'll have to look into that. No, I was just joking, Google.
I understood. I was just joking, Google. Is that right?
Just be quiet. I fight with my Google Home all the time. Hey Google, am I in the Matrix?
Would you like the red pill or the blue pill? I can give you directions to the nearest drugstore.
I want all of them. I'll have to look into that. Unit 731. I want to talk about the rape of Nanking. And I want to go. Unit 731 will be a great topic. I also I'm into like a lot of different history. I don't know, royal history, not like the negative history, but like I'm really interested in Russian history and I've never studied anything about it. I'm just interested in like the royals and like the, like the richness of it all. I don't know if anything like that like interests people or is it just me. Like if I find something that interests me, I have to go look at it right away. So I was going to talk about a cults too would be fun. I think things are better when it's live stream. What's your guys' opinion? Live stream where we like keep it just the information so it's not forever to watch, and then we have like regular talk like this. And does anybody have any other book recommendations? Has anybody seen that Demi Lovato documentary on YouTube? I've never listened to her music ever, but I watched the documentary last night, and let me tell you, that really made me cry because I was gonna do it I didn't know if I wanted to do this recorded or if I wanted to do it live. But I am a recovering addict, or hi, my name's Ashley. I'm a drug addict, and I kind of wanted to talk about addiction and my past with it because I think a lot of people are struggling during the pandemic more than ever, and I kind of just want to be open and honest about it. But I don't know if it would be better to do a live stream because I don't mind asking questions. It's kind of a sensitive topic, but I feel like that's a big part of my identity, unfortunately. And like, it's not who I am anymore, but I feel like if you ignore that kind of part of you, like, don't acknowledge that it happened, that you will be bound to repeat it. So I kind of want to be open and honest. I don't know if anybody else suffers from addiction issues, drinking, drugs. So I felt like I would kind of wanted to share that with you guys. Yeah, I want to just like get to know people. So yeah. Oh, I didn't get that far. But like, I don't know. I guess I'll just do it right here. I Adol knows me when I was younger. I drank a little bit when I was in high school, but I never did any drugs. Never smoked cigarettes. Never tried weed. I think I tried weed once in high school, but I never smoked, so I didn't like it. I took like one hit, but I never was somebody that wanted to do drugs until I met a guy out of college named Michael. And before I tell you this story, Michael was a great guy in terms of he struggled with some demons that I know, and I'm not going to put his business out there because he's now deceased. And I know that he didn't tell anybody about some of the trauma that he went through. He only told me, so I'll take it to my grave. But Michael did a lot of bad things to me. He was abusive, but he was hiding this pain through drinking and drugs. And when I think about him, I like to think about the person he was when he was normal because he was very quiet, couldn't even look anybody in the eye. So this was not like him. So when I met him, he was drinking and heavily using. And I was 18 and we got together when I was 19 and we got pregnant. And I think Adol might have met him once. And I just started using drugs for 2 months. I wanted him to like me, so the first drug I ever did was I injected IV cocaine, and this was in 2005. And from there, it went downhill. In 2 years, I injected every drug you can think of: OxyContin, crack, cocaine, everything. And it went down quick. I ended up dropping out of college when I was 19. And then I got pregnant. When I got pregnant, since I didn't do drugs that much, I just stopped. It wasn't that big a deal for me. So during the pregnancy, my ex Michael, his parents bought us a house. I was like, had this delusion in my head that we were going to have a family. So I didn't realize how sick I was because he continued to drink and drug while I was pregnant. And after the baby was born, he came to the hospital with whiskey in a bottle, like a white paper cup or something. And he drank when I was in there, and that really upset me. So after we came home, he wanted to do OxyContin again. So I decided to do it just because I wanted to like bond with him. I had a $200 a week OxyContin pill habit that I would inject. And I started to justify to myself, it's okay as long as I do it when the baby's asleep. It's okay if I do this. I was justifying and justifying. Then, I don't know if I can even look at you guys when I tell you this. That's why I'm painting. Then it was before my 20th birthday. It was Easter Sunday, I think. And my son was only 2 months old. My ex wanted to get high so bad that he biked 20 miles to go buy Oxycontin. And I begged him not to. I said, it's our first Easter as a family. Let's just take the day off, spend time together or whatever. He had to go. And by that time, he already drank a fifth of whiskey. And then he biked 20 miles to go get this Oxycontin. When he came back, I decided to shoot up an Oxycontin, about 80 milligrams. And I was fine. The baby was sleeping or whatever. Well, Michael went to go shoot up some Oxycontin, and he always said I was annoying. It just makes you feel really warm and like you don't feel anything. So I went to go check on him in the bathroom. He didn't answer the door, which I thought to myself, that's a little weird. So I went to go check on him, and I found at the time, the love of my life, the father of my son, dead on the toilet. He was injecting Oxycontin. He still had the needle in his arm, and he was dead. And I freaked out, and I went and I pushed him on the floor, took the needle out, and tried to do CPR. He was blue, and he was cold, and he wasn't responsive. So I ran out of the room, and I told my friend that was there, I was like, hey, Michael's dying. He's turning blue. And my friend said, leave his body, grab the baby, and let's just leave. And I thought to myself at the time, just thinking about it, I said, I can't just leave this person here. So I made the choice this is like 4 hours after I got high. So my high was almost done. I made the choice to call the police and get an ambulance. So the police show up. They broke 3 ribs of Michael's doing CPR and revived him. They said that he was probably without oxygen for about 4 minutes or so, maybe a little less, that he almost didn't make it. And I've suppressed so much of this. The only memory I have is I remember being delusional, walking around my house with my baby in my arms, crying because I didn't know what was happening, and it was scary. They took him out on a stretcher, and then the cops told me, I said, I really don't use that often, blah, blah, blah. Like the baby's taken care of or whatever. Like I was trying to justify it. And they said, I've never been in trouble before. They're like, if you tell us where you got the drugs, we'll let you have your baby. And so I was like, okay. So I told them, and they ended up taking the baby, and they asked me if I got high that night. And I said, yes. They ended up leaving all of our needles and stuff there, which was funny. And they took me to jail for 2 days, and I sat not knowing where my baby was, not knowing if my ex was alive or dead. And they ended up letting me go because they didn't charge me with anything until like 4 or 5 months after usage of a drug, which was funny for me because they never even drug tested me. I just admitted to it. So when I got out of the hospital, I was like gung-ho, like, let's get sober. And we had CPS come. They would come and randomly cut pieces of my hair off, drug tests, which I always pass. So instead of doing drugs, I just stopped. And Michael decided to go to drinking. And Michael he would have been 36 or 37 today. No, maybe he would be close to 40, I think. I'm going to be 34. Maybe he would be 38 or 39 if he was alive today. He started drinking heavily because he was depressed that our son got taken away. Because once he got off the drugs, he was depressed about that, and he started drinking, where he would get to the point where every morning I would have to sit there with a grown man throwing up into a bucket because he just woke up and he was throwing a piece of his liver because he needed alcohol so bad, shaking. To have a grown man on his hands and knees begging that he's in pain and he needs to drink and stuff was very hard for me to deal with at a young age. So I was under this illusion that he would stop drinking. I would call the local AA clubs, and I would have people come over, and I would beg them, please help this guy stop drinking and stuff. So it didn't work, and it got worse. And one night when he drank a lot, it was like the second time. The first time wasn't really like, it was like an abusive incident, but it was like a one-time thing that like he pushed me. But this time he drank a lot that night, and we're having a nice night, and all of a sudden something snapped. We were talking about our son, and he snapped. And he pulled me by the hair and brought me into the bathroom and started slamming my head against the bathtub, telling me that he was going to beat the shit out of me. It's our fault that our son's gone. It's our fault that he went to jail or whatever. And I watched my grandfather, who was a bad alcoholic, beat the crap out of my grandma. And I said, I'm never going to let a man do this to me. Never, never, never. And he went to jail, and I forgave him. And then the second time it happened, I still wasn't using, and I kicked him out of the house. He came back because his parents own the house that we bought. He beat me up so hard. He was on top of me, choking me. I bit like a piece out of his chest that our neighbors had to break down a door in the house to pull him off of me. So, and then I said to myself, I went to the judge and begged him, please don't put him in jail. He just needs help. He just needs help or whatever. So I let him move back in again, and then I kicked him out again. The third time, I know I joke about this third time, the stabbing thing, but I joke about this in a joking way just because it helps it, because it's so incredibly traumatic. The third time I moved in with this girl that I worked with, and because I wanted to get away from him, and she was a really nice religious girl in the community. She was nice enough to let me stay with her. And one time when I got back from a probation hearing, he was there, and we walked into the house. He broke in, and he said that, in Michigan, there's a 3-strike rule that he might as well just kill me. So this man chased me around the house. He was threatening to kill me, and he was strangling me and told me, I'm just going to kill you because they're going to throw me in prison now because this is the third time. So I told him not to or whatever. It was the longest 10 minutes of my life. So I took a knife and I stabbed him in the chest. And that part was super dramatic. Yeah, humor is a good coping mechanism. I can't really remember it all, but I remember that it was intense because it was like blood everywhere. And then I called my friend was on the phone with the cops, and they told me to go back in, apply pressure, and it was just too much. So I left. So after that, I went to rehab for 3 months, because after that happened, I ended up using drugs again and hiding it from the CPS. I was shooting up so much Ritalin that people were finding me with blood on my arms and bushes at 3 a.m. Like I would shoot up entire bottles of Ritalin prescriptions in one afternoon. I was a mess. I have random memories pop in my head of stuff that I used to do for drugs I didn't even know I did. It was just terrible. I was just in a really bad state. So one day in my head, it popped into me, I'm just going to tell my probation officer I've been violating probation. So I did. I went in and I said, I've been shooting up drugs. And she was nice enough to give me the choice to go home, pack my stuff up, get my affairs in order, and come back and go to jail. So I did that. And the judge said, you're so very smart. I was 21 at the time. I'm going to be 34. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm talking about my life. Sorry. So she's like, you're such a smart girl. I don't want to see you in my courtroom again. You're going to jail and you're going to go to rehab. So I was in jail for 10 days. They put me in a 3-month rehab, and there I learned a lot. And I felt like I grew a little bit. It was like a women's rehab, and it gave me a lot of great tools. And I got out. I ended up voluntarily terminating the rights to my son. Which sucked. But it was for the better. So my son is what is it? 14. He lives with an amazing family who knows who I am. Like, we're allowed to talk. He knows I'm his mom. His mom's been best friends with my mom since they were in kindergarten. So I get to see him. It's an open adoption or whatever. So when I left, I moved to Indiana, and I moved in with actually Adol Wolf, who's in the chat, was my ex. And I put him through a hard time because I started drugs at a young age, and they say once you start using is when you stop maturing. And I had so many mental health issues at the time that I wasn't really mature enough to even choose not to do drugs. So I was a hot mess, and I put him through a lot. And I met another guy, and in that time in Indiana, I was using a lot before I met my ex, the father of my daughters, and I was doing crack. I tried heroin. I tried meth. And I really honestly didn't stop doing anything until 2 years ago. It was mostly it wasn't like it was before. After rehab, it was just I would try to justify it. They say the functioning drug addict or alcoholic is worse than somebody that's at his bottom, because you think you can do it and you really can't. So I was spending my money on drugs, and I was thinking, I'm working 2 jobs. I only do it during the weeks when I don't have my kids, this and this. And then one day I just said, you know what? I can't do it anymore. I can't, because I overdosed twice. One time I overdosed off crack. I woke up after 6 hours on the carpet, drooling on the carpet. And another time I overdosed off shooting up Dilaudid, which is the painkiller that Lindsay Lohan was addicted to. And I haven't told anybody that. So, yeah. So 2 years ago, I just decided I was just done with it. So like you hear me joking about like the medicine I take. I take that normally. I don't have a problem with that. So like I went to college, I graduated school, got my life together, had my kids, and like I'm in a better place. Like I had my own car. I have my license. I didn't get my license until I was 26. I finished college. I like helped edit books on drugs. And it's just like I just like watching that documentary just kind of all brought it back. And a lot of people don't know that kind of side of me because a lot of people don't think, oh my gosh, I can't believe you do all that stuff. I didn't think it could either. And it's like really traumatic to think about because it becomes like my master role. Like people associate me with an addict. There's people today, like where I'm from originally, that don't know anything more than that person that they would see in a bush. So if you told them that I was doing YouTube and I had friends and I had a car, they would be like, "You're fucking lying. That girl probably didn't even graduate college." So I'm a different person today. So I go through a lot because of that. But Michael, on the other hand, he ended up getting sober, and we ended up meeting for coffee one day. I said, "Let's meet for coffee." So this was like 2011 or 2012. And he was sober for 2 years. He went to a men's rehab. He was going to churches, not churches, he was going to hospitals, helping other men get sober off drugs and alcohol. He was going to AA conventions in Nevada and speaking. He was doing really well. He sincerely apologized to what he did for me. He never drank again. I sincerely apologized for anything that I had done. And we were fine. We occasionally texted each other or whatever, but he was doing well and I was happy for that. And I like to take that part of the bad things he did because I've done bad things in my life, but I don't want people to judge me off that for my entire life. I took all those things, put it in a box, and I said, that's my job to work on those. As long as this person's doing something good with their life, I'm going to think about them for that, unless it's something unforgivable, like certain things we know. So he was doing great. And then on his 30th birthday, 2 months after he turned 30, I guess, after like 2 or 3 years of sobriety, he ended up taking all of his money and getting a bus ticket from Michigan to Chicago, and he decided to relapse. And they found him dead from a heroin overdose in an alley. So that was hard, just because it's like the closing of all of the bad stuff. Because I don't like to talk bad about him because he's deceased. But it's like somebody that I was struggling just like I was, and he was doing good. It was done. Like he was able, so he was doing so well that the adoptive family let him come over all the time and see our son. So our son was building a relationship with him. And they went to his house and he had Christmas presents for our son, I guess, and he wrote a letter. So my grandmother just told me that whatever he was looking for, he was suffering, he wasn't going to find here. So I feel like he's finally at peace. And I know it's selfish to say, but I feel like I don't have to worry anymore. So yeah. When I watched the documentary last night, like I don't care about Demi Lovato's music. I've never listened to it. I can't I don't have an opinion, but it was just like seeing somebody go through so much was just so traumatic. So if you know anybody that suffers, and it's really hard to, it's really easy to say, well, just stop, just stop. There was times where I thought that if I didn't shoot up a drug, that I wanted to kill myself, that I would literally slit my wrist if I couldn't get this drug. And it was the most intense feeling I've ever had in my life. And I would never wish that on my worst enemy. And I don't have a drinking problem. I very rarely drink because I've been in abusive relationships. So like I maybe drink when I go out, but like I can't imagine what an alcoholic goes through because I don't have an issue with alcohol. So sometimes I try to like, why can't they? And then I think to myself, but like, if you know anybody that's struggling with drugs or alcohol, you need to help and reach out to them, even if they fail. Tough love is a good thing to use in that, but maybe like they said in the documentary, don't like scold them. Like, why did you do that? Be like, what is happening in your life that made you do that to yourself? Like, that's a good question. So that's a little bit about me. So I was thinking about maybe creating a little like an online NA or AA meeting if anybody wants to make throwaway accounts and feel like they need to talk. I think would be good. So yeah, that's a little bit about me. And I only cried off half my makeup. So yeah, Michael's birthday would have been, I think I have a picture of him. He wrote something, and I know some people are like, why would you forgive him? Well, like I've stolen money and I've said some terrible things when I was high and did some terrible things to some people that I would hate people for. But you know what? Like I don't want people to think of me that way for the rest of my life. I don't want that to be like, oh, the picture's gone. Yeah, he was born in 1982 and he died in 2012. So, oh, the picture's not there. So yeah, he was 30, but he would have been. I'm so bad with brain math. He would have been 39 this year. So I feel like that's a good little talk. I just want to talk sometimes about things that are on my head, on my brain, and I feel like there may be some people dealing with that. And mental health is another thing that I think people need to be more open in talking about. Okay, here we go. Let me share this. Um, I never share these pictures. I've never shared these pictures with anyone, just so you guys are the first to see these pictures, just an FYI. And I have very few pictures of us together. That was me and Michael when I was pregnant. That was before everything started happening. And that was him like a year before he passed away. And this was something that he wrote about his struggle with drugs and alcohol that they found in a journal when they went to clean out his house. So it was something about how he struggled with his addiction. So yeah, so I and he's like I feel like better now. Like I don't eat like some days like I think about drugs and I'm like maybe once in a while I get a strong craving like maybe once a year, but now it's just like I've moved on, I'm done. Like let's do bigger and better things. And you know what? Ron's channel was a great help in that. When I discovered Ron's channel like almost 2 years ago, I was doing drugs and then I said, you know what? I want to talk to these people. I want to be friends. Like I don't know. I've never watched YouTube or talked to anybody on YouTube. And finding Ron's channel is what helped me because I was going down a very dark road again. Like I was almost overdosing at the point that I met Ron's channel. So Ron's channel means a lot to me. So for that reason, he's pretty much a lifesaver. So yeah, I don't even know if you can read that. But yeah, I was so young. Oh my God, I was like 20. No, 19. I just turned 19, I think. That was the Christmas of the year before I turned 20. God, I'm so old. I turned 34. 34, man, on April 21st. It's okay. Wish list in the link tree. Just kidding. Yeah, I turned 34 soon. But yeah, I hope I didn't like bug anyone by talking about my personal things. But I just feel like hi everyone. The people I didn't say. I just feel like people are just. It's good to be open in certain instances and vulnerable, but I feel like people don't talk about enough stuff, or people don't feel like comfortable talking enough to people. Yeah, Ron has a lot. Ron pretty much saved my life twice. Twice he saved my life. Because I had a really bad incident last week with suicidal thoughts, and all the family from Surviving Life called the cops. They came and checked on me, so that was very nice. They saved my life twice. So shout out to everyone over there. Ron, who talked to me while I was in the hospital, trying to get me to shove my phone up in my vagina like it's a tracker so he can find out if they take me somewhere they shouldn't. Ron's humor is always good. So I feel like if you have an issue, feel free to join my Discord and try to reach out, because even if I can't talk, because I know there's some people I'm dealing with now that are a little sad, there is a lot of other friendly people that I know that would love to talk to somebody or would like to help somebody, because I think right now more than ever, everybody's just a little bit more susceptible to sadness and usage of substances. We're all online more, trying to meet people, trying to learn new things, and that's great. But like I feel like we forget to take care of ourselves and other people sometimes. Whew. Now I want a cigarette. Which smoking isn't good either, but you can't take away all of my vices, folks. Now I'm only dealing with shopping too much. That's a vice that's reasonable to change. I shop way too much. Are any of like is like anybody else in? I like all of the new people are here. Not like the people I talked to. Like is like Asha and anyone here? Are there anyone listening to me babble? I don't know if I told him all that stuff, but yeah, Ron had a big thing to do with that. Thank you, Ron, for helping me get sober. It's good job, Adol Wolf. And just a shout out to Adol Wolf. He tried so hard to get me to be sober, and he did a good job to his best of his ability. But one thing you learn about addiction and alcoholism is that you can't get sober for your kids, your family. You can't get sober for anyone but yourself. And if you're not ready, you're not really going to get sober. You're just following the rules, and you're following like this, like you're just not following your heart. So sometimes people just can't make it, but you have to hit your rock bottom and say, you know, I'm tired. I'm tired of being sick and tired, and I'm ready to make a concrete change. And it finally took me to get to that point, which was sad. It's sad to say, but honestly, I think losing my son was one of my biggest regrets. April 26th. Yeah, Adol tried so hard to take. He caught me using drugs once, and I wasn't allowed to go to the bathroom with the door closed for like 2 months. He tried. Oh, yeah. I started doing my Pocahontas. And then I did Mulan yesterday. I just wanted to draw the minority princesses because I feel like Pocahontas and them don't get much love. Aw. Recovering, I hope, Super Lisa. And you know what? I just remember being in rehab and I had women that were in their 30s and their 40s. Get sober now. You don't want to be my age and be struggling with this. Thank you. Yeah, I was thinking of selling them, but I don't know who would buy them. Some girl on Instagram told me how to paint properly, so I took her advice and it's turning out great. It's actually very therapeutic because I talk a lot, but you will never see me not talk more than when I'm doing a painting. I will literally sit in VC and ignore everyone for hours. Thank you. But like, I just don't know. I think I made the gray way too dark. So I guess that's okay, right? It still looks good. It'll do. It'll do. Except I wasted all my black paint now. I jumped out way too much. But thanks for letting me rant, guys. And join my Discord. I have a link in the chat. I don't know if anybody's even in here that's a mod besides Adol. I'm trying to see who's all in this chat now. Just everyone. Okay. I almost jumped on there. Yeah, my link tree's in my description, so if you guys want to go there, auction them to fans. That would be good. Do I have fans? I don't know. It's hard sometimes to think that people like me when I don't like myself half the time. That's a hard thing to take. People are messaging me. I don't know what they're messaging me about. But yeah, that's about it. That's about my talk. But yeah, sorry to be so down, but thanks for listening to me. I had to get that off my chest. I really was thinking about that all day. I was like, oh God, that's documentary. I get so emotional watching stuff now. I should only be able to watch K-pop videos. Yeah, so if you know somebody, I always, even if I just meet people, I like that I know have drinking problems, like I literally have gone and like sat with people and like try to get them help and like talk to them. I'm like, please, 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 please. I can't tell you to stop drinking, but this is what'll happen and I'll help you. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Because I've been told you can get all of your material stuff back. You can get everything in your life back, but you can't get back your life once you lose it. And yeah, coping skills. My coping skills were either overeating, which I'm having troubles with now, overeating, promiscuity, cutting, shopping, or drugs. And so far, we're just on overeating and shopping. The cutting, it's been a few weeks. Oh, thank you, Enchanted. So, yeah. Yeah, why would I lie? And plus, it's better just to be honest with people because then when they try to talk shit about you, what are they going to use? Like, they're going to tell everybody I'm a drug addict. I just told everybody. So, like, well, what else? What are they going to say? You want to tell people I've been in jail? I already told everybody. Like, what's there to tell people now? Like, let me tell my story and then you work on your own. Yeah, alcoholism is a killer, man. And I really think alcohol should be a controlled substance because I watched my grandfather from birth till four. I lived with my grandparents, and I watched my grandfather try to come back to the house and kill my grandmother with a gun. I would have to listen to him beat the crap out of my grandmother every night for 4 years, and that was really hard. And I'm having a hard time coping with that now because my grandfather's dying, and he was always nice to me and he never knew that so I never really seen too much of it, but he loved and cared for me. But he is currently in the process of dying right now, and he has had a stroke and he can't remember anything he did, so he doesn't think any of it happened. So I don't want to hold it against him because he's dying and he doesn't think that any of that happened. So that's a little rough. And here's the kicker. It turns out my mom will never watch these because she doesn't have really good internet. It turns out that my grandfather molested my mom when she was young and he raised me for 4 years. And I have really weird, fucked up memories that don't make sense. And I get really nervous when I talk about it. So I'm going to talk about it really quick. So I don't think anything, I think something happened, but I don't know. And that's the end of the story for that. Yay. So he doesn't remember any of that either. So I tried and it's like, when you find that out when you're 27, I'm 33 now, and that was your only father figure for your whole life, and you figure that out, that's like a fucking bombshell that rocks your world. And then on top of that, the guy is passing away and doesn't remember anything he's done, and he thinks he's a normal person. Thank you, everyone. That's what I'm coping with too, because this is like a chapter is closing, and I'm dealing with somebody that I thought was nice my entire life, kind of, to somebody that's definitely not nice. And it's like, and then on top of that, he's passing away. It's like, but he doesn't remember anything because he had a stroke. It's like I'm in like this huge mind fuck. It's like, what cosmic Cheerios did I piss in? Who did I piss off in the great heavens? I must have pissed somebody off. Yeah, alcohol is worse than any drug. More people die from alcohol related reasoning than I think any drug combined. I kind of know. I did like tons of presentations in school. I kind of know. I helped do the books, so I like wrote about all these crime and statisticals. So like that kind of stuff. So, yeah. Oh god, it is emotionally destroying. So like I try not to think about it too much. Because what I mean by weird memories is like memory. I have a really good memory, and everybody's always told me that. But then there's certain things that start and they don't have a middle, but they have an end, and certain things that have weird things. Like whose grandfather tucks them in when they're 7 and says, "I did some really bad things to your mommy. I'll tell you when you're older." Those kind of weird memories. Okay, that's a. Oh my god, that's terrible, Christy. And it's just like once you're on that side, you're thinking to yourself, like with the drug and alcohol thing, like if you've been there, you're like, what is this person going through? How can I help them? Why is this happening to me? It's like such two different dynamics at play there that you have to struggle with. I just remember a point in my life where it was so. Yeah, my grandma did hate you, Adolf, but I know she'd like you now. My grandma was the best woman in the world, and I'm sad she's gone. My grandmother was the kind of woman where I would hear her get beat for 2 hours, and then she would know I'd be crying, and she'd come in the room singing and dancing, trying to make me laugh like it never happened. That woman did that for 4 years, and I'd hear her say, "Ashley's in the other room. You gotta be quiet, please. Ashley's in the other room." Yeah, because I did. Yeah, I have bullshit, Adolf. My grandma babied me just a tad. I'll have to read that. Hey, Google, make a note, Recovery by Russell Brand.
Saving note.
I always take notes of everything because everything you guys say I want to read. Yeah, it's such a weird situation, but I've never read it. I've never read it. That's why I love Edie Sedgwick so much. She's the girl that originally wore these earrings in the 60s. Look up the girl Edie Sedgwick. She was a socialite, one of Andy Warhol's girls, and she came from her dad molested her. She had eating disorder, and came from a really rich family, and she moved out to meet Andy Warhol in New York and became like a really good a big socialite. And she ended up becoming a really bad heroin addict, became sober, and then died at 27. And I feel like her good personality, I feel so much in tune with that, like her story a little bit. That's why I named my daughter Edie after her. But she was just watch the movie Factory Girl. It has Jimmy Fallon in it. But Edie Sedgwick was a beautiful woman, and she died very young. See, we have this almost the same earrings on. All right, so the earrings that you see me wear, these big ones, are replicas of these earrings of her. Like I have these earrings, and I don't know where the big ones are that I'm wearing. Oh, here they are. So they're replicas of those earrings. So if you look at there, these are smaller, but she's somebody I really admire. Oh wow, that's intense, Christy. So look up Edie Sedgwick. She has a really interesting story. Very interesting. I think I have a book on her too. Where is it? Oh, it's somewhere. Oh yeah. I have two books on her. Edie, this book. And then I have one more. She was really a beautiful. I went to the exhibit and I like almost cried when I saw her screen test. Yeah, she was part of the 27 Club, and it was really unfortunate. They said that she was the kind of person where you wanted to protect her and you did everything to save her, but people just kept taking advantage of her. I wish I could have been as strong as you, Dodie. I was not as strong. And one thing, never, ever, ever tell somebody, because men can be in abusive relationships too, especially with alcohol. Like a woman could be abusive to a man. Don't ever tell somebody, why don't you just leave? You never know until you're in that situation. Because I grew up watching that abuse and always said to myself, I would never, ever, ever, ever let that happen to me. And I did. And I did. So it's always good just to try to take a step back. But yeah, it's crazy. But Ron's stream's gonna start soon, so I'm gonna pop off. You hate it, Fallon? Yeah, I Fallon looks weird in that movie, but I love that movie. I spent a whole summer thinking I was her from that movie and learned all the lines. Cut my hair when I was high. I literally cut it down to here with a pair of scissors and made my hair look like hers and walked around with Audrey Hepburn cigarette holders and told people my name was Edie. There are still people to this day that think my name is Edie, and it's not. It's the funniest thing. But Ron's going to have a really good stream starting soon about James Charles being the P word. So let me put the link to that here. So everyone tell Ron how important he is because he helped save my life. He's a good guy. He has tough love. Yeah, that's Ron's next stream. But thank you so much, everyone, for listening to me. You know what was funny? I don't know, Star Series. I think it's because everybody was misfits, but they said that Andy Warhol actually was against drugs. He tried weed once, I think, but Andy Warhol did not do drugs. And he actually had signs up that said no drug use. Like, oh, I'm sorry, Bilbo. I am not. Isidori Duncan. Hey, Google, save the name Isidori Duncan in notes.
Saving note.
I will save anything you guys tell me that I don't know about. I always have to look up stuff. You're welcome. I feel it's better to be honest. But let's all go head over to Ron's stream. I need to get something to drink. But thank you everyone for listening to me. And you all have a great night, okay? Love you.